instead of just trying to add more and more and more and more to scale, I want you to actually like look at what is working, what isn't, remove what isn't, and then optimize what could be improved that's only just kind of averagely performing. And then if you've got your great things there, okay, is there anything we can improve, or are they at their best performance? Hello, and welcome back to another episode on the Beauty Industry Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Kennedy. Now, this week is the lead up to the retreat, and oh my gosh, we have got so much done in such a short period of time. I'm talking maximizing every minute of every hour to make sure that we got Nick's new passport sorted. We had to go to a rapid Ozpost, apply for Express, and then that gets taken at 12 p.m. on the same day to the passport office. Ended up getting his passport done in 7 hours, which I think is a record-breaking amount of time. Then apply for the visa so that by the time he goes to leave on his flight, it's all sorted. We then also needed to buy some new equipment. So we went to DigiDirect and bought a DJI Ronin, like an RS4, which is a gimbal. And so you put your camera in there and that's how you do all the smooth transitions for videography. So we're leveling our content up for not only the retreat, but also future events and then any other things that we've got in the podcast studio. We also bought a shotgun mic so that sits on top of the camera and captures really crisp audio. I did want to get one of those Rode handheld mics, but they actually don't have the best feedback in terms of sound quality. So we went with a shotgun, and I think it will look nice not actually having this clip-on mic or having a handheld mic, just being able to see the person in their outfit as is. We had a retreat onboarding call with all of the guests and also our speakers, just running through how is the week going to run, tips for traveling to Vietnam for the first time, making sure that everything's prepped and they feel comfortable and confident walking in. And they also know some familiar faces. They're not just walking into a room going, oh my gosh, I don't know anyone. I'm in a different country. What do I do? So we've got the group chat going off. We've got some really cool marketing materials that will be coming out throughout the retreat week to promote it. We've done like our own piss take out of Love Island, except it's got the beauty industry leaders twist and it's also got these cool little switch outs. So you've got the villa in Love Island. Well, we're at the Schiller because it's the Schiller monogram. And we've got all of our leaders instead of islanders, and we've got our guest speakers as bombshells. So I think with my retreat marketing, I wanted to create it into an experience where people keep coming back each day going, what's going on? What's happening? And so we're turning it into a little reality TV show behind the scenes, which we'll see if it works. I think it will work quite well. It's quite a clever idea, but ultimately we've just got to wait for the stats to come in and see if it's something that people like or if they cringe or if they're rolling their eyes out or they think is really funny. We'll see. So between all of those things, I have also been working really hard with a few people helping out. So Andre, she's been taking all of my draft that's been put in a Google Doc, building out the slides so that I've got them to present. And then we've also been building out a workbook. And then Ellie has been taking the information from that document and putting it into a Notion board. So we wanted to give our guests two options. They can either handwrite everything, pen to paper, let it soak into their brains, or if they prefer, they can use Notion so that they've got it all stored in a computer. No matter where they go, they can access it at any time. Some activities are going to be better to do in the workbook and other activities are going to be better to do in Notion. So I think it'll be really good to actually get the feedback of this retreat and think, how can we optimize? How can we improve? It's definitely been something that has had so much attention to detail and thought go into it. So I haven't had that many issues. I haven't had questions coming up. I haven't had any negative things happen, which I think is great considering that, running rodeos and music festivals and other events like the beauty pageant previously in my life have come with a lot more headaches, but the crew we've got, the organization, the team. It's just been really epic. So I want to give a shout out to everyone involved in the retreat because I'm coming into it feeling really lit up and excited about it, not drained and anxious and exhausted. And it's a really, really nice feeling to know that, everything that you've been building is finally coming together and you can actually see it and you can feel it. Oh, so excited. Another thing that I haven't really told anyone about while this is all happening is that I've been very sick. And it all started because I went to do my meal prep ahead of the week and I accidentally left this plastic container lid on the stove, and then I accidentally turned on the wrong stove that I was meant to do my cooking on. And so this whole container caught on fire. It started smelling like the most toxic smell you could ever imagine, like plastic melting. I started coughing, I was choking because it was so strong. And then I quickly chat GPT'd what do I do? And it said you need to let it sit and completely cool down. Don't touch it or move it. And because I told Nick as it was happening as well, he's like, you need to get out of there. It's not good for you to breathe that in. So I left for 3 hours, went and came back to the apartment and had to sleep there at night because this happened quite late in the evening as well, which is not ideal. And the next morning, waking up, I must have been breathing in those fumes throughout the whole night. My throat was all closed up. I had a runny nose. And then for the next few days, it started getting worse, got headaches. And I actually feel like my whole body had been poisoned. It was just the worst feeling. And I'm still feeling it a little bit now. I started to come good a bit more. But I think with just the workload of everything going on as well from 5:30 a.m., I'm pretty much getting up, replying to emails, building out workbooks, recording podcasts. And then I really wanted to support my clients and I booked them in. So I had some days where I had, 1 to 2 calls a day. But looking back now, the 2 weeks leading up, I should have just said no clients at all. But I think there's been so much to learn and take away. And I'm glad that they feel supported and I'm going away and, we're going to be able to come back and review what they've done. But it's just been this crazy time. So many lessons, very exciting, but it's just whoa, no matter how much time you think you have, that last week is just always, it just comes and then you're like, oh, it's all happening, it's all happening. So I fly out on Thursday. So I've got 2 days left. I've got to record this podcast episode and then I've got another one that I need to do so that you are sorted with episodes while I'm away. And I haven't batch recorded podcast episodes either because I was really excited for the new podcast studio to be ready. And I thought, okay, well, that's when I'll do it because I wanted the higher quality and every other thing. But, things just happen outside of our control sometimes. But on a positive note, yesterday, the soft boxes finally came. So I got a refund from DigiDirect for the ones that just pretty much had no ETA. We had no idea when they were going to come. And we've got ones that we ordered from Amazon, which are the Amaran brand. So at least the lights, the soft boxes, everything is the same brand, I guess. Not that it really matters, but consistency. And when we get back from the retreat, we'll be able to set up the podcast studio. And I've got my first guest coming in live at the end of Feb. So the timeline of everything in my life has just been so insane. I feel like I need to have, a week nap after the retreat. And I have blocked out a few days just to recover and then we'll be back into it because I've just had the most amazing time this year. I've had so many new one-on-one clients come on board, which I'm really grateful for. But I've actually been at a point where I'm going, okay, no more promoting what I'm selling because I actually can't take on anyone. I'm fully booked. I'm at max capacity. So I've had to really reassess, okay, what needs to change in my business if I want it to be more scalable and how can I support more people but not be in a state where I'm just constantly sitting on one-on-ones. And I'm still reluctant about group coaching. I'm trying to figure out what is the best way that I can create something that is scalable, but it's different. It's not that same experience that everyone else offers and they feel really unsatisfied with. So I've got lots of things to think about, but that's all my updates for you. So I want to talk about this. And this is my own advice to myself if I listen back to this episode, which I usually do. A lot of these podcast episodes are actually reminders for myself, if anything, but I know they're going to help you too. This is the number one mistake that most business owners make when they want to scale. And I can really see it happen in my own business, in bowling, with my client businesses. And I think it's a great topic to talk about because it's something that we are going to actually do as an activity at the retreat. So when you start a business, right, you just got to get good at the thing. You got to put in hours of work to refine your skill set, build up the clientele. Everyone makes it seem like it's this big fairy tale where you just open up a business and you make money and you go on holidays, but it's anything but that. You've got to invest a lot of money and time. You've got to build out your marketing strategy. You've got to figure out what the heck you're going to do with your brand after you've tried to do marketing and you've realized it's not working. You've got to figure out, okay, how do I actually make money? And then when you got the money, you got to make sure that there's profit. And then where am I putting the money? And it just becomes this whole whirlwind where you're pretty much struggling, right? You're just trying to survive week to week. But then as time goes on, you start to gain a bit more confidence. You've got your feet on the ground now and you can actually, you go, okay, well, this is a consistent problem. How do we fix this? And so then you create a strategy or you create a system or you create some kind of process that helps you streamline it or resolve the issue. And then as you go on to the next thing, you start thinking about, okay, well, what am I going to do differently here? And okay, there's only so many hours in the day that I can work and who do I need to hire or like what do I need to implement? So your brain starts to think in a different way because instead of just trying to build the beast, you've got to then optimize it and look at how am I improving it. And so once you've gone through that first stage in business and then you're in the second one where you're going, okay, I need to improve things. I'm at this kind of plateau because I'm just trying to do all the things. I'm running around like a headless chicken and it's not getting me anywhere. And then that's when people are like, I want to scale. I want to make more money. I want to make more profit. I want to make more impact. But right now, the level that I'm running my business at, that's just not possible. And so what can sometimes happen is you fall into that trap of, I need to add more. And so you think, okay, I'll buy a new machine. I'll add more services. I'll go and open up another business. I'll start this new project. And so we start adding more and more and more and more and more. But unless you've got a really strong foundation and everything that you're currently doing is optimized and automated and set up with solid foundations and systems, then you just add more fuel to the fire. You add more problems. You add more things that are just going to create headaches, more stress, more pressure. And the very thing that you seek, which is freedom, you actually end up doing the complete opposite and put yourself into this prison of just hard work and burnout. So we had this exact same situation actually come up recently at bowling, and I was talking to my dad about it, and he's had his mindset on really wanting to do this second story. And he's like, if we add in the second story, it could be the difference between doing like a 10 to 15K day on a Saturday through to doing like a 20 to 30K day. And, you think, okay, well, if we added a second story to our business, what does that mean for us? It means needing more staff. It means having to double up on the amount of alcohol we have, having to build another kitchen, having to get all the same equipment as the current kitchen also replicated in the top one so that we can still follow the same, recipes or processes and things that we're doing to cook the food. Like it's just, we're doubling up. We're actually increasing our liability in some ways. And it's not always easy to see that because you think about, okay, well, this thing's going to add more value and bring more money, but you're not looking at, okay, well, what are the other things that may come into play here? Like, what are we not considering that could impact us? And so we were having this conversation about, the 80-20 rule. And so if you can get your business to pretty much run at 100% of the revenue it would make if you were fully booked when you're only at 80%, you're going to have more profit, you're going to have higher quality clients, and you're also going to be able to optimize what you're already doing. Anything you make over that 80%, that's a bonus. And this is something that I also teach when we do profitable pricing. We never work out your break-even costs and your revenue targets based on 100% of the available hours. We always do it based on 80%. And part of me is trying to tell you here that, don't just add more things because you feel like it's going to. Like, look at the things that aren't optimized enough, or you could be pulling more profit from, or you could be improving the efficiency of. Because if you just keep adding more things, you add more distractions, you add more fuel to the fire of what's not working. So if something's not working and you try to do more, it's just going to be more of what's not working. And areas where I've seen this happen in beauty businesses, skin clinics, aesthetic injectables is when they just keep adding in a new service. They keep adding a new one. Oh, I'll open up a second location. I'll do this. And it's just like you keep adding more, but there's so much more liability for you and stress that comes with it that it's not actually the success that you think it will be. And so what I want you to focus on is like, okay, if you wanted to make more profit in your business and you wanted to scale it, what you can focus on is how can you build a better system so that this is more efficient? So is it a step-by-step process? Is it an automation? Is it some piece of equipment or technology that could streamline something for you? Like look at where can you improve the efficiency. And then when you actually get that optimized and that is working at its best possible way, that's when you go, okay, cool, that's set. That's at its peak. There's not a whole lot more we need to do to change or improve. That is at its best performing rate. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's doing the best it possibly can. And then that's when you want to move into, okay, well, what is the other area of the business that could be improved? And it might be, okay, our client retention sucks. You know, we're getting a customer, they're only coming in like once every 3 months. How do we get them back every 1.5 months? And so you start thinking, okay, where do we improve the client retention process? Is it rebooking? Is it not actually just asking them? Is it part of a follow-up process? Is it part of our strategy? Are we going to do treatment plans? Are we going to do memberships, whether they are expected to come back and we are setting that timeline? Like, how are we actually getting that person back in? And then the other thing that you can look at is, okay, well, what things actually need to be removed? And this is one thing that we often overlook in any area of our lives, not just business, but also personal goals, habits. We think about, okay, well, I'll just add this onto my plate and I'll add this onto my plate and I'll just do this and do that. And you don't actually consider what are you taking away? Because you've only got so much energy. You've only got so many hours in the day. You can't just keep adding more and more. So you've actually got to look at what are we taking away that's not adding value, that's not profitable, that's not actually serving our customers, that's not helping our team. And this is why I love doing a bit of a mass exodus every 3 months, because I look at, okay, well, what's worked in my business, what hasn't, and what things need to be removed. Like even thinking about your products, right? Is there stock that's just not selling? You know, stop stocking that brand. If it's sitting there and it's going to expire, you're better off doing a flash sale, trying to get rid of it, than just letting it sit on the empty shelves, never selling, expiring, and then you've lost that money. You know, we've had this situation with food, right? Food will usually go off after a certain amount of time. If you know it's going to go off in the next week and it's not something that usually sells, like do something to make the money back on it rather than let it expire and lose everything that you put into it. And then, you know, if you're going to remove something, think about, okay, well, what is bringing the greatest return versus what isn't? And sometimes I know this is a conversation that comes up with clients. It's usually like their social media marketing. They're paying some agency like $3,000 to $5,000. And it's like, well, if you are seeing the return on investment, if you're seeing leads, if you're seeing clients, if you're seeing your revenue increase and that's working, keep it there. But if you're not seeing any new clients, if you're not seeing any new leads, it's not adding any new value, that's when you go, okay, well, I need to maybe look at getting rid of this. So instead of just trying to add more and more to scale, I want you to actually like look at what is working, what isn't, remove what isn't, and then optimize what could be improved that's only just kind of averagely performing. And then if you've got your great things there, okay, is there anything we can improve or are they at their best performance? So looking at your business, where are the areas that you should be looking at before you want to scale? I would probably be looking at your client experience. From the moment that they see you on Instagram and they go onto your profile and then they see your pinned post and they click the link in your bio and it takes either to the booking system or the website, is that optimized? Then from there, like the treatment protocols, the consultation, like how do you run that whole service from the moment that they step in to your space? And then Also, what does the process look like afterwards? Are you giving them something? Are you sending them emails? Are you following up? Are you creating a plan? Are you rebooking them? Look at the whole client experience from before they even book in through to, if they didn't rebook for 3 months, what would you do to try and get them back? What would you do to nurture that relationship and create a premium experience? The other thing that I would look at is all your products. So what are your best sellers? What are the ones that just don't move? And then think about, okay, well, what could I get rid of? Or what can I just move on and then leverage that cash flow for something else? I would then also be looking at your team, how they're showing up. If there's leadership issues where everyone's doing things inconsistently, it's a systems and processes issue. So you need to sit down and write out the step-by-step process and then show them, teach them, actually give them the tools, the knowledge, the resources, the skills for them to be able to perform that to the level that you want it to be. Don't just expect someone to go in and fix things if they don't know what they're doing. People are employees in your business because they need to be led. Yes, there's going to be some people who are resourceful and they can come up with ideas on their own and they have initiative. But what I've found in today's world is that common sense is not so common. And so you need to be the person who sets the standard and raises the bar and shows them what they need to aim for so that they have some kind of guidance and direction. Now, in terms of your numbers, all of this kind of comes back to numbers in one way or more. Like, what's the conversion rate? What's your rebooking rate? What's the percentage of profit? How many new clients are we bringing in? Like, being able to understand all of your numbers and look at what's working and what's not working. Your numbers are like a clear indicator of where you need to focus your time and energy into. And I think if you can track this, which is something that we do at the retreat, we go through and we have this whole annual business performance tool. Like, it tracks the business's performance. It tracks each individual staff member. It shows you the ROI on them. It shows the wage to revenue ratio. It shows the percentage that they're selling retail in comparison to their total sales in services. Like, there's just so much value in there that we're going through so people understand, what metrics am I tracking? What does success actually look like? What are the benchmarks that we should be aiming for? And then that way you can make more informed decisions about when you're going to bring something new in, and it's not from a place of being reactive. So if you want to scale, if you want to grow your business, you've got to look at the foundations first and make sure that they are strong. You've got to do the boring stuff, the unsexy stuff, the stuff that not everyone actually enjoys doing, but it is paramount to being able to make a business successful. And so what I want you to do as a little takeaway from today's episode is sit down and just do a simple analysis of what's working really well in your business and what's not. And in the what's not category, put crosses through the things that you need to remove or get rid of so that you can create new space for improvements or bringing something new in if you choose to. But before you bring something new in, look at the what's not column. You've crossed out the things that you're going to get rid of. Look at, okay, what needs to be improved? And that will be your North Star for where you need to focus your attention and energy in 2026 so that you have a strong foundation, you can build that up and can scale without everything falling apart on you. Instead of always needing to do more, think about how can you do less but higher quality so that it does generate more for you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I'd love to hear your takeaways. Send me a message at Sammy Kennedy Coach on Instagram and we can have a chat there. Have an amazing week and I will catch you when I get back from the retreat in more of a lifestyle episode, but I'll see you in the next episode because I'm about to record that. See ya.
Audience exclusive.